In the last two verses, Krishna has been telling us, to Arjuna and then of course to us, that he has no work, he has no duties, he has no desires, and he has no needs also. And still I am doing my work, I am doing my prescribed duties. Why so? To become a role model. In 3.23, he said that if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, certainly all men would follow my path. In today's shloka 3.24, he will explain the repercussions of what will happen if he does not perform the prescribed duties for humans. Let's read the shloka, but before that we can say the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, who has given us these wonderful purports, because of which we are able to understand the Shastras, which would otherwise have been beyond me, at least I can say for myself. So what is this shloka? In chapter 3, we are actually into that block of verses where Krishna is exemplifying to Arjun that why performing karma yoga, which means why performing our duties, becomes very essential even if we are very much renounced, even if we are qualified for Gyan Yoga. So this is the kind of the last slok in that block. From the next slok onwards, he is going to explain the superiority of Karma Yoga over Karma Kand. What is the difference between the two? But we'll see that in the next slok. Let's read this slok. Utsideyuri me loka na kuryam karma ched aham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyam imah prajaha. So the translation given by Srila Prabhupada says, if I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. Now, actually Krishna is giving 3 different repercussions, 3 results that will come if he doesn't do the prescribed duties. Now, we have heard that shlok, it's very, very popular, Why does Krishna come to earth? Krishna himself says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna says, yuga after yuga, I come to this earth to establish the principles of dharma. So when he comes here, he makes it a point to establish all those rules and regulations which he expects all men to follow. Srila Prabhupada writes first about Varna Sankar. So Varna Sankar, if we recall, was mentioned by Arjun in shloka number 1.40. There Arjun was very concerned that if we fight this battle and if thousands and thousands, lakhs and lakhs of men die, there will be only old people and children and women left here, and then the women will be exploited, they will be contaminated, and out of that, coming as a result, lot of unwanted progeny will be inflicting on this world. So unwanted progeny is what is Varna Sankar. Varna means the 4 varnas, that is the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras. And Sankara means adulteration. So adulteration of the varnas. Now why is that a concern? It's a concern because generally a Kshatriya is supposed to endorse and exhibit qualities which are, like bravery and, a will to protect the weaker sections of the society. If the qualities get mixed up, the Kshatriyas will not be so concerned about protecting anyone. So the modern, so-called modern day kings, as we have seen them in the past, not in the recent past but in a little back in history, some of the kings who just became kings for the sake of exploiting the power and the position, but not concerned about the protection of their praja. So those kind of kings, are examples of a Varna Sankar Kshatriya, which means a mixed up Kshatriya who doesn't have the qualities of a Kshatriya. Similarly, we can have mixed up Brahmins, mixed up Vaishyas and so on and so forth, and that will lead to upsetting of the society. So here Krishna is actually convincing Arjun, rather Krishna is actually defeating Arjun at his own argument, because Arjun was so concerned about Varna Sankar. So Krishna is saying, so if I don't do my duty, the Varna Sankar will increase, and similarly if you don't do your duty, the Varna Sankar will increase, and thereby he is convincing Arjun to keep doing his duty on the battlefield as a Kshatriya. So Srila Prabhupada explains that Varna Sankar is unwanted population which disturbs the peace of the general society, and in order to check this social disturbance, there are prescribed rules and regulations by which the population can automatically become peaceful and organized for spiritual progress in life. So he comes to make sure that everything is going on smoothly, everybody is following the proper rules and regulations, the laws, in order to lead this life properly, in abundance, as well as progressing further in spiritual life. Because Krishna wants to emphasize here that just eating, drinking and making merry is not the purpose of human life. The purpose of human life is not making sure we have a good status, a car, a good job and settled children. It actually means that we climb the ladder of spirituality and ultimately move on to the kingdom of God. That's why following the rules and regulations is necessary, because human life is the natural exit door from this material universe of suffering and pain and miseries. So a regulated human life is a very good opportunity to get out of this sad place that we are in. Oh, well, we might say it's not such a sad place. Oh, I'm enjoying, don't disturb me. But this might be a very temporary phase in the life. We don't know about how many lifetimes earlier we have suffered and how many times later we are going to suffer in this world. So, Srila Prabhupada says that Lord is the father of all living entities, and it is very natural for a father to feel responsible for his children. If somebody's child does something wrong, we immediately feel very responsible for it, there is a natural tendency to own the responsibility because we are the ones who brought them up. And similarly, since Krishna is the father of all living beings, he considers his responsibility to guide all the living beings on the right path. That's why he says, I follow all the rules and regulations. Now, therefore, whenever there is general disregard of regulative principles, the Lord himself descends and corrects the regulative principles. So, although Krishna is up there in the Golok Vrindavan, he is enjoying himself, there is no need for him to come down here. But when there is a general disregard, which means when adharma is increasing, he feels responsible. He thinks that he needs to come here personally to reset the rules and regulations, and that is his greatness, that is his magnanimity. He of course sends many great saints also, but time and again he himself also makes it a point to come. So that's the reason why Krishna comes, and that's the reason why Krishna explains he follows all the rules and regulations to lead by example. And what happens if he doesn't do that? He gives three things in this shloka. Utsidayor means those people, these lokas. Utsidayor ime loka. These lokas, these planetary systems and the people living in these planets will be put to ruin. They will be ruined. Why so? Because they will not know what is the ultimate purpose of human life. They will ruin don't know how many lives by just trying to eat, sleep and be merry. But that's not the purpose of life. If they just focus on these things just to enjoy themselves, they will actually ruin their lives. They will be responsible for their own destruction. But yes, if I come and give them the purpose of life, the path of life, then these people will move steadily up the ladder of success, spiritual success, and ultimately come back to me in my kingdom. So that is the first problem. The second problem is sankarasya chakartasya, which means the unwanted progeny, unwanted populations, the mixed, adulterated, contaminated populations will come up who have no morals. They will live as they want, they will do all sorts of immoral things. And then what happens is that nobody in this world will remain happy. By seeing adharma all around us, who can be happy? We cannot be happy if things are going wrong left, right and center around us. So there has to be some order, some law and order around us in order for us all to be happy. Now these Varna Sankar, we can actually understand this in the modern context also. Whenever our leaders are, very, very corrupt, what happens is that irreligious sentiments, they start to go on the boil. There's so much violence. There is, all sorts of bad things happening. You just name it. The women are not protected. Financial insecurity is there. The government itself exploits the people by extracting too much taxes. Facilities are not provided properly. And so obviously, even the common person, will get affected if Varna Sankar inflicts the populations. These days is a perfect example we see in our politics, whatever sphere of life. The Brahmins are not true Brahmins. They are corrupt. They are adulterated. The Kshatriyas, the administrators, are not real Kshatriyas of the, with the qualities of that nobility to protect the general populations. They are rather up there in their positions to exploit the common public. I'm not talking about everyone, but yes, most of them, if I may say so. So that's the reason these corrupt, immoral populations will ultimately bring the entire society to ruin. And that's the third effect. The praja will be upahanyam. Death will come to all the praja. The praja will be destroyed. So earlier Krishna has said that their souls will actually, be degraded, and also their bodies, their minds, whatever existence that they are maintaining in this living world, that is also going to be completely destroyed. So these three effects Krishna is explaining here, and Srila Prabhupada, however, in the next part of the purport is again and again stressing on one thing. What does it mean to follow the Lord? We discussed this in the earlier shlokas also. Now, actually to follow somebody will actually entail two things, which means there could be two ways we follow someone. One is we imitate what the other person is doing. And the other is we listen to their instructions and follow the instructions. The first one is called anukaran. That means to imitate exactly what the other person is doing. And the other one is called anusaran, which means to follow the instructions. Srila Prabhupada says, God, Krishna, and the big saints that we see around us, or we know through histories, are not to be imitated. They are to be followed in their instruction, in their words. Why? Because great personalities have their own way of conducting themselves. They have their own potencies to perform enormous Herculean tasks which we can't. That is why to imitate them would actually mean destruction to us. Srila Prabhupada is explaining by quoting a shlok from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.33.30 and 31. He says, Naitat samachare jatu manasapi hai anishwaraha vinashyati acharan modhyad yatha rudro abdhijam visham ishwaranam vachah satyam tathaiva charitam kvachit tesham yatsva vacho yuktam buddhi mams tat samacharet. Now what does that mean? One should simply follow the instructions of the Lord and his empowered servants. Now who are his empowered servants? The demigods, the Devis and the Devatas, who have been assigned specific tasks in this universe. The Sun God has been assigned or empowered with the task to provide energy to the entire universe. Similarly Indra Dev, similarly Durga Devi. So their instructions are all good for us, and any intelligent person will perform them as instructed. However, one should guard against trying to imitate their actions. One should not try to drink the ocean of poison in imitation of Lord Shiva. Now there is a tendency sometimes, to say, if Lord Shiva drinks bhang, takes ganja and hashish as you call it, the drugs that is, then we can also take it because he is our role model. But this shloka, through this shloka, Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain to us that Lord Shiva is so great, so magnanimous that he drank a whole ocean full of a very strong poison. You can follow him or you can imitate him if you imitate him in all the respects, not just one of it. If you can drink a whole ocean of poison, then you're welcome to smoke ganja. See, great personalities like Lord Shiva have actually some unexplicable parts to their personalities. They obviously can justify doing whatever they are doing, but we can't justify ourselves imitating just one aspect of their personalities. So, similarly, Srila Prabhupada later says in this purport that similarly many people, they say, if Krishna danced the rasa dance with so many gopis, then why can't we make so many girlfriends? Srila Prabhupada asks them, you can do that, but before that, lift the Govardhan hill. If you can even lift a small hillock on your little finger of the left hand, just try balancing one book on the little finger of your left hand. You can't do it for a second also, I included of course. So Srila Prabhupada says, when Krishna was 7, he lifted the Govardhan hill, and at 8 years of age he danced the rasa dance. So what came first? So if we are going to imitate Krishna, then we must imitate him completely. Since we can't, we should not try to imitate the great empowered personalities as well as God himself. So there are some acts, as we discussed in the last shloka, there are some acts that God and the empowered personalities perform because they have to establish their supremacy. And that is why they do this task. But these are the tasks not to be imitated. What is to be done is to follow their instructions. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying that by imitating the acts of Lord Shiva, they are calling death very near. So, they are actually leading themselves to their own destruction. Right? And in the end, Srila Prabhupada makes a very powerful statement that there are so many incarnations of God these days without the power of Supreme Godhead. These days it's become a factory. Even, we have man-made gods. So many people coming up, they get a few siddhis and they said, okay, I am God. I am Narayan. I am Vishnu. I am God. Worship me. So, Srila Prabhupada warns us against them. These make-believe gods, these fake gods can really ruin us because they claim to be gods, but they don't have any powers of God. In fact, I will end today's talk by narrating to you a very interesting incident that took place with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, when he was in his body, he was visited by a man who claimed to be God. He came to Srila Prabhupada and said, I am God. So Srila Prabhupada says, all right, let's see. Now, after some time, talking some time, to Srila Prabhupada, this person asked for the way to the washroom. He said, I want to relieve myself. I'm feeling the urge quite strongly. So Srila Prabhupada ignored his request, and he kept talking to him. After some time, he again said, I want to go to the washroom to relieve myself, please excuse me. But Srila Prabhupada again ignored him and kept talking to him, further, kept discussing the philosophy, etc. After quite a long time, this person was literally, on tears because he couldn't control himself any longer. And he said, I am time and again asking you that I need to relieve myself. Why don't you understand? So Srila Prabhupada said, you cannot control even your own urge to go to the washroom. And you say you're God? God can control everything. God even controls the movements of the universe. So he proved in very simplistic terms that anybody who claims to be God must also have the powers of the God. But he also many times mentions that gods are not made. Being God is not an acquired trait. God is God since the beginning, since he comes or makes an appearance into this world. Like Krishna did. When Krishna appeared in this world from the womb of Devaki, he was born in a four-handed form, neat and clean, with beautiful shiny locks of hair, all dressed up in fine garments. Is this how babies are born in this world? No. So, Krishna says, Janma karam cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. Which means, Krishna says that one who knows that my appearance and my activities are divine, transcendental, they're not like other living beings, that person will never take birth in this world again. Such a strong statement, So congratulations to all of us who believe that Krishna is divine, transcendental. Even this realization can actually liberate us from the miseries of this world. Until next time, my humble request to you all, please chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra whenever you get time. This is the most beautiful, most transcendental way of remembering Krishna, particularly in Kali Yuga. Once you start getting into the habit of reciting this mantra, maybe sitting down with your eyes closed with the purpose to conscious meditation, or just reciting this mantra as you're working, as you're doing your course, as you're sitting down at your work, maybe in your office, maybe traveling in the metro or in the car. If you keep doing that, then life is surely going to become more blissful, more purposeful, and then you will experience more connection with God. Hare Krishna.